finally this week I get to film the car that I've been waiting to film for a long time. The Tucson 1.6 Turbo. But wait. Let me get into POV form. Alright, so let's go. This is the key. Oh, actually, there's keyless here as well. A button for you to press. Oh, this is super tight. Oops. Greeted by the Korean style welcome tone. Whoa! So you see, I had to like look for it. So this is the new infotainment system. It wasn't like how it used to be. Anyway, let's go. Let me just reset this quickly. Fuel economy. Is that a reset button? I have no idea. Okay. Alright, connected info. Alright, so I resetted everything. The range left for a full tank 592 km. Let's see how the fuel consumption fares. Ooh, slick. Buttery smooth transmission. Oh, that's the dual clutch. So I know I haven't been posting videos for a very long time, but as usual, like all my other car review videos, you can expect to see a POV drive of this car. Definitely a POV drive, and there'll be a drive experience video and also a walk around tour of this car. If you want to watch more about this car, do stay tuned. Wow, it's my first 2.3 kilometers in this car and I'm in love. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you would like to watch more car videos like this. So let's move on to the main point of the video. So this is where I'm gonna talk to you about how the car drives. I have just been driving this car around the city for like 100 over kilometers. So this is the segment that I'm gonna tell you my experience. But first of all, I'm gonna tell you some simple stuff like that I noticed about the car. This Lexus-ish spindle grille over here, which that actually differentiates this particular variant, which is the facelift Tucson, compared to the previous one. And you see the LED headlamp, it's actually very bright at night, which you're gonna see in my night POV video. So all the different videos links is gonna be in the description. This particular color is called a dusk blue. Other things, 17-inch 225/60. So yeah, I'm just holding the key. It detects that you are near the car and then it just folds out for you. I actually don't understand why is it like that, but that's just the way Hyundai wants to make things. Another thing is that I'm just holding the key. Imagine your hands are full, stand near the boot area, it's gonna open up automatically after a few beeps. Yeah. This is the boot space. Tonneau cover comes as standard. This particular mat which comes with the car is actually very annoying, honestly speaking, because of this material. If you watch my POV video, you hear a lot of sounds. It's actually coming from this particular mat because I actually put a lot of stuff in the boot when I was filming the POV drive, so it was like banging here and there. But you can remove it and it's just a carpet flooring at the bottom. So yeah, that's the wheel. Yeah, you can remove that and auto close for the tailgate. Reverse camera. So there's quite a lot of things that is different with the standard 2-liter naturally aspirated Tucson. So if you haven't know about this is actually the 1.6 turbo variant. So let's get in. Now, they have all sorts of sensors for the boot and for this side mirror, but they don't have a proper touch sensor for the door access, so you have to press on this button manually to unlock it. So opens up to this interior. Door seals is just plastic with a Tucson word on it. 8-way electric power adjustments for your seats. They have lumbar support as well, but you can adjust the height of the lumbar support. So when you get in, there was the Koreanish startup tone, which you hear just now. The start button is here if you didn't see it. Now before that, let me just show you the back seat. This is in my sitting position. Oh my god, I've forgotten I've got so much stuff in the back, but it's okay. Alright, so imagine this is how I'm gonna sit. If you didn't realize, you can actually adjust the inclination of the back rest. You can raise it, so it goes quite steep to have a very relaxing drive. But then let's go on. This is the leg room that I get with my particular sitting position. More than a hand space, which is very good. Very spacious. You can fit 5 adults easily in this car, no problems at all. Cup holders, view through the back, wide C-pillar, but it doesn't really matter because you have wide side mirrors. Solid door close. Right, let's get on with the drive and let's talk about how this car drives. Turn down the aircon a bit. Goes down to 17.5C. So if you realize, when I shift into gear, the central locking actually locks itself. You can actually set that through the instrument panel. There's options. Just press on this button here for the car settings. You can set that to either lock the car when you shift into gear or when you get up to a certain speed, or you can deactivate central locking. Yeah. Reverse camera. Now, one thing to note, if you're not familiar with Hyundai, currently, I mean for current models, they actually put the parking sensor, parking distance control thing in front of you at the instrument panel. That is the reverse camera screen, and actually, honestly speaking, right, I find it a bit troublesome to have to look there and there. In this particular case, you look at that, you have to actually look there to see where is it, and you have to look here. Why can't they just put it there? My own preference, I would actually prefer if they put somewhere here, or I mean on the screen itself, so you can just look at one place. So let's see how it fares going through a bump. At 20 km/h that was. It's pretty smooth. It's actually very smooth, and not a lot of body roll. When I say not a lot of body roll, as in, yeah, it's very comfortable. You don't feel like the car wants to make you nauseous or what. Because there are some SUVs, I mean most of the SUVs nowadays actually have a lot of body roll. Probably the only one that has minimal is X3, the newest X3. But anyway, let's talk about this car. So I'm actually driving off in comfort mode right now. And yes, this car actually has different driving modes. You can change it through this button right here. Don't worry, I'm not looking at the button, I'm looking in front. This particular mode button, it cycles through the 3 modes that's available: Eco, Comfort, Sports. So it's only available on this particular variant. You don't get it for the 2-liter naturally aspirated Tucson. So let's talk about power in this car. This car has a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine. You actually get 177 horsepower, 265 Nm of torque. That is paired to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And the power delivery of this car is pretty linear. You don't get any weird jerks. The only jerk that you get is because it's a dual clutch. If you are at in a jam like right now, you would feel slight, very slight jerks when you actually pick up from standstill, but it doesn't happen every single time. What am I comparing to? Let's see. Like the last dual clutch that I've driven is a Renault Capture, and that jerked quite a bit. But one special note for you guys who are driving dual clutch, if you didn't know, if your car can be set into eco mode, maybe you could try that. But as far as my experience with dual clutch cars, whenever I put those cars into eco mode, well, obviously your car has to be able to do such a thing. It lessens the power through the throttle, and when you pick up from standstill, it doesn't actually jerk like in normal mode, in normal comfort mode I mean. And since we're talking about driving modes, in this car I realized I like driving the car in eco mode most of the time. It's very smooth, like really very smooth. It's actually a very comfortable car to drive. Now, one thing that I want to touch on about, although this is a SUV, it is only two-wheel drive, and it's the front two-wheel drive. So there's no options for four-wheel drive for the Tucson at least. And if you guys notice, the dashboard is actually different from the pre-facelift Tucson. It is much sleeker right now. You get soft touch dashboard, except for this part at the bottom. So yeah, it's the top part that is soft touch only. This part is still the same, hard plastic or some sort. But the best thing ever, if you guys ever watch my Tucson CRDI video, the previous Tucson actually had two fake stitches running through the door, whatever part you call this, the top part of the door, and it was hideous because the stitching weren't even like aligned or whatever. But in this particular variant, I guess they heard their consumers and they remove it, so it looks much better right now. See, going through rumble strips, you can barely hear any noise. The only noise you can hear is the road noise, which is coming from the tire. But I have sort of concluded it is because they insulated sound from the outside pretty good. You've got to hear some sounds. The sound is actually coming from the tires most of the time, which means that the NVH of this car is actually pretty good. The only two sounds, as I said, well, the only one sound that I said that you would hear just now is the tire noise. The second sound is actually the engine noise when you push the car. Like so, let me put it into sport mode since I can run right now. 6,000 RPM. 140 km per hour. 150. You can really run in this car, I'm telling you. Oh, right. That's enough to show you guys. So as I was saying, the dashboard looks sleek. Feature wise, it's pretty standard. You don't get navigation as well, I think, but then it's most of the things, it's pretty standard. Climate control is all here. I think you don't really get anything in this car. There is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but you can't use Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay only works if you use the original cable for your phone. That's the experience so far. It's touch screen, obviously, you don't get a knob or whatever. So home menu, it's a bit slow, but it's not really laggy. What I meant is that when you press a button, it changes screen a bit slow. From the experience of driving this car, I have not touched this screen at all. I don't find the use of actually touching this screen. The only screen that I look at is that particular center instrument panel, which gives you all your information, fuel economy, your instant fuel economy, your accumulated fuel economy, your drive info. Drive info only stores the memory for 4 hours. Your speed, your transmission temperature. This is very important if you're going to push this car constantly, because it's a dry dual clutch transmission. You wouldn't want to get it like super high temperature. Cruise control is also controlled through here, this particular button. You activate it through this button and set it through this scroll switch. On the left is your multimedia and telecommunications buttons. This voice recognition button is only usable if you are paired with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So since you are stopped, that's the visibility if you're going to turn your head like that. But you don't need to, because as I said, the side mirrors is wide, very wide. So as you can see, you don't even get blind spot monitoring or even a dotted line with the more convex part of the outer mirror. What else? Storage space. You get a lot of storage in this car. It's very practical. Very, very practical, I'm telling you. You seriously have a lot of different compartments here as well. Close that. Sunglasses holder. Can you hear how quiet the car is? For a 150,000 car, it's actually very quiet. Well, the exact price without insurance is actually 143 XXXXXX. So steering wise, it is actually very ergonomically shaped, but I don't really like the leather on the steering wheel. That is just nitpicking. And the steering is actually a motor driven electric steering, and it actually adjusts its own weight whenever you set it to different modes. Like right now I'm in eco mode. It's actually a bit light, not too light like the old Tucson, if you know what I mean. For those who actually experience the previous Tucson, you know what I mean. So if you put it into comfort and also sport mode, especially sport mode, the steering actually tightens up. It gets heavier, noticeably heavier, to a point that I prefer if I could just set the steering to this particular weight. Yes, it's actually quite nice to drive in sport mode. And to adjust the steering, you can adjust it through this manual lever right here. Yeah, you can tilt it, and it's also telescopic. Indicators are on the left, wipers on the right. You guys should actually go to a showroom and experience the car for yourself. Go for a test drive. Let's talk about the brakes. The brakes, when you drive this car for the first time, you will realize that it's actually pretty spongy, and well, it took me one day to get used to it, or a few hours to be exact, to get used to it. And coming on to the seat, this Napa leather seats is actually very comfortable. It's not sport seats, it's just standard comfortable cushiony seats. It has 8-way powered adjustments. That's with lumbar support, by the way, although lumbar support is fixed height. But somehow, if you have long thighs, you may find this seat a little uncomfortable, because the forward of the seat, although it can be tilted up a bit, it doesn't tilt up to a very high angle. How do I actually explain this? Or maybe that just happens to me. So yeah, look at that, my thigh is actually hanging. And I don't really like to sit too far away from the steering wheel. And I've actually retracted the steering wheel, by the way. I guess I just have long legs. So we are free. Even in eco mode, this car pulls like nobody's business. Look at that car, 4 gauge. So there's no coasting. This car doesn't have auto start stop as well. So at lower speeds, like I just tried to stop just now, I did hear a slight clacking or clonking of the dual clutch. Dual clutch do make sounds every now and then. Even in the Audi A4 Quattro video which I filmed, you guys could hear clonking sound, and I mentioned that as well. It's pretty common in dual clutch cars. But after all, if you look at it properly, right, the 3 noises. Number 1 is the tire noise. Number 2 is the clonking of the dual clutch at low speeds like this. The third noise being the engine noise. I would say it's just nitpicking on a car. So another thing about the car, the suspension. Suspension is very comfortable. It's very, very subtle. It goes through bum like a charm, honestly speaking. But at the same time, although it's very comfortable, it doesn't give you body roll, or at least apparent body roll, like in the CX-5. Now, I don't want to get firing for this, but I have in fact reviewed CX-5 before. If you want to check the video in the description to compare things. And oh gosh, no wonder it's so congested. That's actually an accident. Alright. That guy's foot is bleeding. Oh, talking about CX-5, look at that. As I was comparing the suspension with the CX-5, why did I compare with the CX-5? Because I've driven the SUVs in this particular segment, and CX-5 is the one that I realized has the most body roll. Now, you may not agree with me, that's fine, but this is really my own experience of the car and my opinion of it. But to say something good about the CX-5, I do like their diesel version, so yeah, that's it. Which makes me ask this question, how come Hyundai Tucson doesn't bring in the diesel version like the CRDI one that I filmed previously for the pre-facelift model? Gosh, if only they brought in that particular variant with this interior. And talking about how comfortable the car is not just my own opinion. I had 5 different passengers in this car and they have all said that it's very comfortable. There's no apparent body roll like in the CX-5. It's the same passengers in the CX-5 and also the X-Trail. The X-Trail is good lah, but the CX-5 is just a big no-no for body roll. And to summarize it, I could say that the handling of this car is pretty good lah for SUV in this price range. But having said all the good things about this car, makes me think, how come I don't see as many Tucson as I expect to see on the road, because it's just good? Well, that goes back to the same reason, I guess. The brand perception of Malaysians on this brand. It's pretty sad lah, honestly speaking. And having filmed more than 80 cars so far, I would say this is one of those that I would buy as well. And having said all the good things about the car, here comes the downside. First one is how responsive the car is. Even by putting the car in sports mode, I do realize there's a slight lag. I'm pretty sure it's due to the setup of the dual clutch. It's not really as responsive. Like if you put your foot down, you can actually feel a slight delay. Yes, it can fly. This car does fly, like go really fast, but there is still slight delay in the beginning. And the second problem is the parking distance control sensors. The position of the sensors are not aligned in the same level. So here, look at the sensor. One is here, this corner. The other one here, and it's the same on this side. So this corner here. So if you can see, one is up there and one is down there. So the things that you are detecting is actually different. I mean, it gives off more noises at the side because it's so low. So any slopes in front of you, that would be able to detect it. It's a bit annoying at times because it keeps on beeping when you're just in front of a slope. I mean, before going up the slope lah. So it's just a really small detail kind of thing that it's not aligned in one line. Is that a bag? Look at that. They could make it align in one straight line. And since we are talking about the parking sensors, I'll just quickly note that you have to manually press this parking sensor button to activate it. If not, even at low speeds and near obstacles or anything in front of you, it wouldn't activate unless you press it manually, which is a very tedious thing to do. Imagine every time you get in a tight spot that you need your parking sensors, you have to activate it manually. So that's another thing that to add to the list that I find it annoying. Yeah, downside, it's actually a downside. And also another thing is that this car doesn't come with pedal shifters. I did not mention that because I didn't realize it needed one at first until some time where I was driving a bit fast and all. I just realized that a pedal shifter would be very much useful. Yeah. And the third thing that I want to point out is the front passenger seat is not powered. It is adjusted manually for 140 over 150,000 car. I just don't know why. So that's all for this particular segment. Now, because this is just the second day that I'm driving this car, I still have some time with it left. There may be some other things, miscellaneous things that I would show you. Do check out the POV drive. There's a day and night video for this particular POV drive. The links will all be in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. And two other miscellaneous things that I want to show you guys is that you see this part with all the markings. Yeah, somehow, if you're in a tighter spot, your leg is gonna like rub against this part. Look at all the markings throughout the whole weekend that I've used this car. Another thing is, or maybe I'm just having not mixed up. Another thing is that this part right here, you see, is slightly less than 2 feet, but not to worry. it's enough for it to open. Pretty small space. Yeah, that's it. This is the final fuel consumption that I'm getting before I send it back to Hyundai. I've driven for 400 kilometers. I'm getting 10.5 litre per 100 kilometer, and my range left is 113. So I guess it's not that bad. I've got a quarter left. So that's it. Thank you for watching.